Xa'thuul stared at the datapad showing Charlotte Brown's DNA analysis ranked higher on the predator index than the Xa'thuul species, the apex killers that genocided 12 civilizations before anyone could stop them. This can't be right. According to YouTube analytics, 98% of viewers are not subscribed. That's a huge number. By subscribing the channel that is completely free, his secondary hands trembled as he ran the analysis for the fourth time. The numbers didn't change. Predator index score, 9.8 out of 10, higher than the Xa'thuul's 9.3, higher than the Kvesh Ravagers at 8.9, higher than every natural-born killer in the Galactic database. The human, Charlotte, was currently watering the office plants. Security to Xenobiology Lab 7, Priority Alpha, Vexia's voice crackled through his communicator. Full containment protocol. She's making coffee, Xa'thuul whispered into the comm, watching through the observation window as Charlotte hummed something while filling a strange thermal container. Armed security personnel materialized around her, weapons at ready position. She looked up, confused, holding a small watering can. Guys? Did I miss a drill or something? Xa'thuul's tertiary heart lurched. The database didn't lie. The predator index measured everything: binocular vision, pursuit capability, caloric efficiency, prey-killing adaptations, evolutionary hunting behaviors. It had been calibrated across 73,000 species over 2 millennia. The Xa'thuul scored 9.3, and they'd hunted sapients for sport until the Galactic Council glassed their homeworld. Humans scored 9.8. Nobody move, Vexia commanded, her combat exoskeleton materializing around her chitinous frame as she entered the lab. Xa'thuul, explain this reading. I can't. He pulled up the comparison charts, hands shaking badly enough that the holographic display flickered. Every parameter: visual acuity, forward-facing eyes, predator class, endurance capacity, off the scale, pursuit hunting adaptations. He stopped, his voice catching. Vexia, according to this, humans are persistence hunters. The security chief went very still. That's not possible. Persistence hunting was outlawed by natural selection 40 million years ago across 99% of sapient species. It's too energy-intensive, too effective, Xa'thuul finished. The only species that successfully evolved persistence hunting were the Xa'thuul. They went extinct because they literally hunted their entire planet's ecosystem to death. Charlotte raised her hand like she was in school. Sorry, I'm really confused here. I just came in for my annual physical so I could renew my station medical clearance. Did something come back weird? Because I'm actually pretty healthy. My doctor said, your DNA scores higher on the predator index than species that ate their prey alive. Vexia's translator couldn't quite mask the horror in her voice. Charlotte blinked. What? No, I'm a vet tech. I literally spend my days helping animals. I've been vegetarian since college. She held up the watering can, helpfully. See? Plants. I'm watering plants right now. Xa'thuul pulled up the historical record. The previous record holder was the Xa'thuul. They conquered 17 star systems before we stopped them. They had to be stopped with planetary bombardment, Vexia. Total extinction was the only way to end their predation cycle. I've met Charlotte, Vexia said carefully, keeping her weapons trained but lowered. She volunteers at the station animal shelter. She cried when that Rigelian import cat had kittens last month. The data doesn't care about behavior. Xa'thuul zoomed in on the genetic markers. Look at this, throwing adaptation in the shoulder socket. Do you understand what that means? Humans evolved the ability to throw objects with lethal accuracy. It's a hunting adaptation so specialized that only 3 species in galactic history developed it. Charlotte laughed nervously. Okay, this is getting really weird. Should I call my supervisor or... Council emergency session initiated, a mechanical voice announced through the lab's speakers. Classification, existential threat assessment. All department heads report immediately. Existential threat? Charlotte set down the watering can slowly, eyes widening. Look, I don't know what those test results mean, but I promise I'm not threatening anyone. I feed stray cats. I can't even kill spiders without feeling guilty. Kael'thas met Vexia's compound eyes across the lab. They'd both seen the same reports. The Xa'thuul had seemed peaceful too, right until their population density reached critical mass and their predatory instincts activated. Entire worlds had burned. Charlotte Brown, human, vet tech, loves animals, Vexia said slowly, and genetically scores as a more efficient apex predator than the species that nearly ended galactic civilization. Charlotte grabbed her coffee mug, a ceramic thing that read, "I'm not arguing, I'm just explaining why I'm right," and took a long sip. This is about to be a really long meeting, isn't it? The council is convening in 6 minutes, Kael'thas confirmed, his voice hollow. They're going to want answers about why we have an apex predator working in the animal clinic. Oh, Charlotte sighed. Okay, fine. But can someone at least explain what a predator index even measures? Because I'm pretty sure there's been some kind of mistake. Vexia's grip tightened on her weapon. It measures, she said carefully, how efficiently a species has evolved to kill. The office plants swayed gently in the recycled air. Charlotte's coffee steamed quietly. And somewhere in the database, the number 9.8 glowed like a warning that nobody knew how to interpret. "Run it again," Vexia ordered, her security team deploying portable scanning arrays around Charlotte. Visual acuity, metabolic efficiency, endurance markers, musculoskeletal stress response, everything. Charlotte munched on a cookie she'd pulled from her bag. "I brought snickerdoodles if anyone wants some." "They're vegan." Kael'thas watched the screens populate with data, each result more alarming than the last. Binocular vision, confirmed predator class. Overlapping visual fields provide depth perception optimized for tracking moving prey. He looked up at Charlotte, who was now offering cookies to the security personnel. "How far can you see clearly?" Pretty far. I can read that sign across the room." She squinted. "Emergency decontamination protocol." "Why is that unusual?" "That sign is 40 meters away with 8mm text." Kael'thas pulled up comparison data. Herbivore species average half that distance. You have eagle-class visual acuity combined with forward-facing eyes. That's a pursuit predator adaptation. "Cool, I guess?" Charlotte shrugged. "My mom always said I had good eyesight." The next scan completed. Vexia's antennae flattened against her skull. "Caloric efficiency analysis shows... No, this can't be right." She turned the display toward Kael'thas. "Humans can operate at 93% capacity on minimal water intake. Their cooling system uses..." She stopped, checking the translation. "Uses evaporative fluid secretion across their entire dermal layer?" "Sweat," Charlotte supplied helpfully. "Yeah, we sweat. It's kinda gross in the summer, honestly." Kael'thas felt his blood chill. "You can cool yourself while running?" "Well, yeah, that's what sweat does. Keeps you from overheating during exercise." Charlotte took another cookie. "Is this going somewhere? Because I have a shift at the clinic in 2 hours." "Endurance capacity results incoming," a security tech announced, his voice cracking slightly. "Sir, the human's slow twitch muscle fiber density it's higher than Xa'thuul baseline." The lab went silent. "The Xa'thuul," Kael'thas said slowly, "hunted their prey to exhaustion death. They would follow a target for days until its heart gave out from stress and fatigue." He pulled up historical footage, nightmare material from xenobiology courses. Xa'thuul hunters jogging steadily behind fleeing herbivores, never stopping, never tiring, just maintaining that steady, relentless pace until their prey collapsed. "Oh, you mean like persistence hunting?" Charlotte perked up. "Yeah, I did a paper on that in college. Early humans used to chase antelope across the savannah until they got heat stroke. Pretty effective, actually. We can regulate our temperature way better than most animals, so we just keep going. Jog for like 8-10 hours sometimes." She laughed. "I mean, I can't do that. I get winded going upstairs. but apparently our ancestors were hardcore. Vexia pulled up her personal database, frantically cross-referencing. Humans evolved on a death world. Class 7 predator density. Environmental hostility index 8.2. She looked at Charlotte with what might have been horror. Your homeworld makes the Xa'thuul hunting grounds look like a petting zoo. Earth's really nice. Actually, Charlotte protested. Lots of pretty places, mountains, beaches, forests. Forests full of ambush predators with 4-centimeter claws, Xa'thuul interrupted, reading from Earth's ecological database. Grasslands with pack hunters that pursue at 60 kilometers per hour. Oceans with, he stopped, with predators the size of colony ships. You mean whales? They eat krill, dude, tiny shrimp things. Charlotte noticed everyone staring and sighed. Okay, yes, there are also sharks, but shark attacks are super rare. You're more likely to die from, like, falling coconuts. Your planet, Vexia said carefully, has fauna that kills via falling fruit. Well, not on purpose. A new display materialized. Xa'thuul's primary hands gripped his workstation. Historical scan complete. Cross-species domestication records for humans. He scrolled through the list, his color shifting toward distress purple. Charlotte, what exactly is a dog? A dog? She smiled. They're great, loyal, friendly, good companions. I have one named Biscuit. He's a golden retriever. Your database entry says dogs are descended from wolves. Vexia's mandibles clicked nervously. Apex pack predators, bite force sufficient to crush bone. Humans domesticated them? Like 15,000 years ago, yeah. We basically made friends with wolves and bred them to be cute. Charlotte pulled out her datapad, showing pictures. See, this is Biscuit. He loves belly rubs. Xa'thuul stared at the image of a large carnivore with prominent teeth lounging on what appeared to be Charlotte's sleeping platform. You share your den with a predator. He's a sweetheart, wouldn't hurt a fly. Charlotte swiped to another image. This is my cat, Colonel Whiskers. He's the scary one, honestly, brought me 3 dead mice last month. You keep multiple predators as companions, Vexia said flatly. They're pets. It's normal. Charlotte looked around at their expressions. Guys, what exactly do you think humans are? Xa'thuul projected the comparison chart. 10 categories. 8 showed humans exceeding galactic apex predator baselines. We think, he said quietly, that you're the most efficient natural-born killer we've ever encountered. Ooh, and you don't even realize it. Charlotte looked at the chart, then at her snickerdoodles, then back at the chart. That's ridiculous. I cried during a nature documentary last week. Which documentary? Vexia asked. The one about penguins. The dad penguin kept the egg warm while the mom was hunting, and it was just really sweet, okay? Charlotte crossed her arms defensively. Look, I don't know what these tests are telling you, but I'm not some kind of killing machine. I'm a vet tech. I help animals. The worst thing I've done this month is give a very angry space hamster a bath. The council notification chimed. 3 minutes to emergency session. Xa'thuul pulled up the final metric. Prey pursuit success rates across evolutionary history. The human percentage made his stomach turn. Charlotte, he said softly, your species has a 97% successful hunt rate when engaging in persistence predation. Nothing escapes you. You just keep coming. Charlotte opened her mouth, closed it, looked at her cookie. Are you telling me I'm biologically terrifying? Yes, Vexia and Xa'thuul said simultaneously. Huh. Charlotte took another bite. Weird. Phase 3, system breakdown. The holographic projectors flickered to life, filling the lab with translucent figures. 12 council members materialized, representing the major civilizations of the galactic community. Xa'thuul recognized Chancellor Vornix of the Thelian Concordat, Admiral Shkera of the Defense Fleet, and, his heart sank, High Inquisitor Xilax of the Threat Assessment Bureau. Explain, Xilax commanded, his 3-meter frame dominating the projection even as a hologram. Why do we have a code apex situation over a veterinary technician? Charlotte waved awkwardly. Hi, I'm the apparent crisis. The data is conclusive, Xa'thuul began, pulling up the analysis for the council. Human DNA exhibits every marker of apex predator evolution. The most concerning factor is persistence hunting capability. Perhaps the human should explain, Chancellor Vornix interrupted, her crystalline form refracting the lab lights. In her own words, what are human hunting techniques? Charlotte blinked. Hunting? I mean, I don't hunt. But historically? She shrugged. Humans used to do this thing called persistence hunting. You pick an animal, usually something fast like an antelope, and you just chase it. Chase it, Admiral Shkara repeated, his fins flaring skeptically. Prey animals are faster than pursuing predators. That's basic evolutionary dynamics. Right, but we don't sprint, we jog. Charlotte made a slow running motion with her arms. Like comfortable pace. The animal runs away super fast, gets tired, stops to rest. We catch up, still jogging. It runs again. We keep jogging. Eventually, usually takes like 8 to 12 hours, it just can't run anymore. Heat exhaustion mostly. Then you've got dinner. The council chamber fell silent. 8 to 12 hours, Xa'thuul said slowly. You pursue prey for half a day cycle? Oh, sometimes longer. There are records of hunts lasting 2, 3 days. Charlotte's enthusiasm was somehow making it worse. See, humans are really good at long-distance running. We do marathons for fun now. That's like 42 kilometers. Some people do ultramarathons, which are way longer. My cousin did a 100-mile race last year. For fun, Chancellor Vornix whispered. Your species runs 100 miles recreationally? Admiral Shkara's translator barely functioned through his distress clicks. I mean, not everyone. But yeah, it's a thing. Charlotte noticed their expressions. Is that weird? Xa'thuul pulled up anatomical scans. Council members observe human structural adaptations. Forward-facing eyes for depth perception and prey tracking. Exposed dermal layer across 90% of body surface for maximum heat dissipation. Achilles tendon functions as energy storage spring, reducing running costs by 35%. Nuchal ligament for head stabilization during pursuit. They evolved rubber bands in their ankles to chase things better, a council member squeaked. Essentially, yes. Vexia highlighted additional features. Gluteus maximus, the largest muscle group relative to body mass of any sapient species, exclusively for bipedal running. Humans are literally built to never stop moving. Charlotte raised her hand. To be fair, we didn't start at the top of the food chain. Early humans were pretty weak, actually. No claws, no venom, not particularly fast. How did you survive? Xa'thuul demanded. Sticks and teamwork, mostly. Charlotte grinned at their expressions. I'm serious. We'd throw rocks, use spears, hunt in groups. Humans are really good at cooperation. And throwing, we've got crazy good aim because of our shoulder joints. We can nail a target from like 30 meters away. Projectile capability, Xa'thuul confirmed, highlighting the human shoulder structure. Rotational throwing adaptation. Only 3 species in galactic history developed this, all classified as extinction-level threats to their ecosystems. We also figured out how to make fire, Charlotte added helpfully. That was a game changer. Cooked food, scared off predators, kept warm. You mastered combustion before developing agriculture? Admiral Shkara looked faint. Yeah, like hundreds of thousands of years before. Fire's easy. Charlotte paused. Wait, you guys didn't have fire early on? Most species discover controlled combustion after achieving industrial civilization, Chancellor Vornix explained slowly. It requires sophisticated understanding of chemical processes. Or you just bang 2 rocks together near some dry grass. Charlotte mimed the motion. Honestly, the hard part was keeping it going, not starting it. Xa'thuul's projection leaned forward. Let me understand this clearly. Your species, without claws, venom, armor, or natural weapons, conquered your planet using thrown objects, controlled combustion, and the ability to literally run other species to death. Pretty much. Oh, and we're really good at sweating. That's key. Charlotte took a sip of her coffee. Most animals can't cool down while running, so they overheat. We just sweat it out and keep going. It's actually a super unfair advantage when you think about it. Vexia pulled up Earth's extinction records. Her voice came out strangled. Charlotte, what happened to the megafauna on your planet, the large herbivore species? Oh, humans probably killed most of them. Charlotte said it so casually that several council members recoiled. Not on purpose, really. We just hunted them. Woolly mammoths, giant sloths, dire wolves. Well, we might have domesticated some of those, actually. But yeah, humans spread across the planet and the megafauna mostly disappeared. Coincidence, maybe? Probably not, though. You accidentally genocided your planet's largest species, Xa'thuul stated. Genocide is a strong word. You hunted them to extinction. I mean, when you say it like that, it sounds bad. Charlotte scratched her head. But this was like tens of thousands of years ago. Modern humans have conservation programs and everything. We're trying to save species now. Xa'thuul compared efficiency charts across his screens. Council, the data is undeniable. In every category measuring predator effectiveness, stamina, adaptability, tool use, cooperative hunting, environmental range, humans exceed all known apex predators. The Xa'thuul were specialists. Humans are generalists who optimized for every hunting strategy simultaneously. That's not possible, Admiral Shkera protested weakly. Evolutionary selection doesn't produce universal predators. You specialize or you die. Unless you're human, Vexia said quietly. Then you just adapt. To everything. Forever. Charlotte finished her cookie. Look, I feel like this is getting blown out of proportion. Yes, humans used to hunt, but we stopped. We have farms and grocery stores now. Nobody persistence hunts anymore except maybe some tribes in Africa, and that's more cultural tradition than, you still do it? Xa'thuul roared. Recreationally, as a hobby, not for food. Charlotte threw up her hands. Honestly, you guys are acting like I'm personally dangerous. I help sick animals. I foster kittens. Last week I stayed up all night bottle feeding a baby Antarian grovehopper because its mom rejected it. The council stared at her, at the genetic data, at the extinction records, at the image of Charlotte with a dozen foster kittens sleeping on her lap. We need new threat assessment categories, Chancellor Vornix said finally. Nothing in our system accounts for apex predators who choose compassion. Walk us through human evolutionary history, Xa'thuul commanded, his tone suggesting this was not a request. From the beginning, how did your species survive to develop civilization? Charlotte looked at Xa'thuul, who nodded encouragingly. Okay, so humans evolved in Africa, right? Started as pretty weak primates. Then we went through an ice age, actually several ice ages. Things got really cold, and most of the easy food died off. How did you survive? Chancellor Vornix asked. We got creative. Charlotte shrugged. Started hunting bigger animals. Mammoths mostly, huge hairy elephants. We'd use spears, work in teams, drive them off cliffs sometimes. Then we'd follow the herds when they migrated because, free food if you're willing to walk for it. You survived an ice age by following your prey across continents, Admiral Shkera said slowly. Well, yeah, if the food moves, you move. Basic survival. Charlotte pulled up Earth's map on her datapad. Humans spread from Africa to Europe, Asia, Australia, the Americas, basically everywhere. We crossed oceans on rafts, walked across frozen land bridges, climbed mountains. We just kept going. Xa'thuul was pulling up climate data, his hands moving frantically across displays. Every biome, tundra, desert, rainforest, mountains, islands, humans colonized them all within 50,000 years. He looked at the council. Do you understand what that means? Universal environmental adaptation. No other species has ever. And when we got to new places, we figured out what we could eat there, Charlotte continued. Switched prey species depending on what was available. Hunted seals in the Arctic, kangaroos in Australia, bison in America, whatever worked. Prey switching, Vexia breathed. That's an adaptation that takes most species millions of years to develop. Humans did it culturally in generations. I mean, food is food. Charlotte seemed genuinely confused by their horror. If you can't find one thing, you find something else. It's just practical. Xa'thuul gestured sharply, and a new display opened. Archival footage from Earth's cultural database. I found something. Human persistence hunting, recorded in the Kalahari Desert, Earth year 2013. The hologram showed a human male, lean and shirtless, jogging across sandy terrain. Ahead of him, an antelope ran in panicked bursts. The human never stopped, just maintained that steady, relentless pace. An hour into the footage, the antelope was stumbling. 3 hours in, it could barely run. 5 hours in, it collapsed, panting and hypoxic while the human approached calmly, not even breathing hard. That's the traditional method, Charlotte said, watching over their shoulders. San Bushmen still do it sometimes. It's considered a rite of passage in some communities, proves you can provide for your family. He ran for 5 hours, a council member whispered. The prey was dead on its feet, and he looked like he could go another 5. Humans can run for days if they pace themselves properly, Xa'thuul said, his voice hollow. Their cooling system and metabolic efficiency allows for sustained activity that would kill most species from overheating alone. Oh, that's nothing compared to ultramarathons, Charlotte said cheerfully. Those are like 100 miles or more. Takes 24 hours sometimes. People do it for fun. There are races and everything. My cousin Jenny did the Badwater 135 last year. That's 135 miles through Death Valley in summer. She finished in 31 hours. The council stared at her. Death Valley? Xa'thuul repeated carefully. It's called that because it's super hot and dry. Temperatures get up to like 130 Fahrenheit. Charlotte noticed their expressions. What? Jenny trained for it. She's really into running. Has all these fancy shoes and hydration packs. Your species still hunts, Admiral Shkera interrupted. Even now, recreationally, for sport. Well, not for food usually, more for the challenge. Some people hunt deer or elk, but most places have regulations now. Controlled populations, hunting seasons, licenses. Charlotte saw Xa'thuul's crest rise in alarm. It's ethical hunting, to prevent overpopulation. We're actually really good at conservation now that we're not, trying to survive. How? Xa'thuul said, his voice dangerously quiet. Does your civilization control human predatory instincts? What protocols prevent hunting behavior? What genetic modifications suppress the drive to kill? Charlotte laughed. None? We just decided not to? I mean, most people like animals. We have pets. We watch nature documentaries. Some people go vegan because they don't want anything to die for them. She gestured at herself. I'm vegetarian. Haven't eaten meat in 8 years. It's just a choice. The lab went silent. A choice, Chancellor Vornix echoed. Yeah. Humans are pretty good at choosing what we want to be. Charlotte looked thoughtful. I guess we self-domesticated in a way, like we're still capable of hunting. Obviously the biology's all there, but culturally we moved past it. We farm now, we have grocery stores. Most people never hunt anything their entire lives. Xa'thuul felt something shift in his understanding. Cultural evolution overriding biological imperatives. You didn't eliminate the predator, you chose to transcend it. I wouldn't say transcend, it's still there if we need it. Charlotte grinned. But yeah, we decided being compassionate was better than being scary. More people volunteer at animal shelters than go hunting. We spend billions trying to save endangered species, even the ones that used to eat our ancestors. Vexia pulled up new protocol screens. I'm reclassifying humans in the security database. New designation, apex predator, voluntary non-predator status, cleared for all civilian positions, recommended for peacekeeping roles given unique combination of capability and restraint. Peacekeeping? Xa'thuul looked skeptical. Think about it, Vexia argued. Who better to prevent violence than someone who understands predation but chooses not to engage in it? Humans have the capability but not the desire. That's actually ideal. Charlotte raised her hand. Does this mean I can go back to work? Because I really do have a shift in 90 minutes, and Mrs. Cathrex's cat needs his thyroid medication. The council members looked at each other, at the data, at Charlotte, who was checking her data pad with mild impatience. Yes, Chancellor Vornix said finally, but we're updating every xenobiology database in the galaxy. Other species need to know what humans are and what they chose not to be. Cool. Can I get a note from my supervisor explaining why I'm late? The Galactic Predator Registry update went live at 1847 station time. Across 17,000 scientific institutions, researchers received the notification simultaneously: critical taxonomy revision, species human Homo sapiens. Xa'thuul watched the reactions flood in: confusion, disbelief, demands for verification. He'd written the summary himself: apex predator, culturally dormant, predator index 9.8 to 10. Note: predatory capability remains present but voluntarily suppressed through cultural evolution. Exercise standard diplomatic courtesy. Do not assume threat level based on observed behavior. It's going to cause panic, Vexia observed, reviewing security feeds as the news spread through the station. Good, people should know. Xa'thuul finalized his departmental memo. To all xenobiology staff, human behavioral presentation does not reflect capability. Human compassion is a choice, not a limitation. Adjust threat assessments accordingly. Recommend all staff review Earth evolutionary data before interacting with human personnel. The council was still in session, their debate growing heated. Xa'thuul could hear it through the open channel. If humans are this dangerous, we need restrictions, someone argued. Population controls, mandatory genetic monitoring. They've been among us for 30 years, Chancellor Vornix countered. How many incidents? How many attacks? 0 on record, Admiral Shakera confirmed. Humans have lower violent crime rates than 70% of registered species. They volunteer for crisis response, medical services, education. Because they choose to, Xa'thuul interrupted. His tone had shifted from alarm to something like wonder. That's the point. The most efficient predators in galactic history looked at their own capabilities and decided to be kind instead. He pulled up human deployment statistics. They serve in every peaceful capacity. They rescue. They heal. They teach. What if that's exactly what we need? You're suggesting we recruit humans for peacekeeping? A council member asked incredulously. I'm suggesting that predators who choose not to hunt might understand violence prevention better than anyone. Xa'thuul displayed the data. Human empathy scores are off the scale. They adopt animals from other species. They cry at nature documentaries. They've spent the last century trying to undo the extinctions their ancestors caused. Maybe capability plus restraint is the ideal combination for security work. Charlotte drained the last of her coffee, standing up from where she'd been waiting awkwardly in the corner. So, am I in trouble, or? Xa'thuul looked at her, this small, friendly creature who carried the genetic legacy of Earth's most successful predator in every cell. No, Charlotte. We're just recalibrating everything we thought we knew about threat assessment and capability and choice. Great, because I really need to get going. I'm supposed to meet Sarah for kickboxing at 6, and I'm already, every head in the lab turned. Your what class? Vexia asked very carefully. Kickboxing. It's a martial art. Punching, kicking, good cardio. Charlotte grabbed her bag. I go 3 times a week, helps with stress, plus it's fun. Martial arts, Xa'thuul repeated faintly. Humans have formalized combat systems for recreation. Well, yeah. Kickboxing, karate, jujitsu, Muay Thai, boxing, wrestling, tons of them. Most cities have gyms. Charlotte checked her data pad. Oh, and I'm teaching a self-defense workshop at the community center on Thursday if anyone's interested. Basic safety stuff. She was halfway to the door when Zilax's voice stopped her. Charlotte, one question. How many human combat systems exist? Hundreds, maybe thousands if you count regional variations and historical styles. Why? The council chamber erupted in frantic crosstalk. Charlotte shrugged and left, whistling something cheerful. Xa'thuul stood at the observation window, watching her disappear down the corridor. She stopped to pet someone's service animal, laughed at something on her datapad, completely ordinary, utterly harmless in presentation, and genetically capable of running down nearly any prey in the galaxy until its heart gave out. Sir? A junior researcher approached nervously. Should we be concerned that humans developed hundreds of fighting styles? No, Xa'thuul said slowly, understanding crystallizing. We should be grateful they only use them in controlled settings, with rules, with referees. He pulled up humanity's history again, all those wars, all that violence, all that predatory capability, and then the long, deliberate climb toward peace. They tamed themselves. That's more impressive than anything else they've done. His communicator buzzed. A message from Charlotte. Sorry for the chaos. Weird day at work, LOL. Thanks for the coffee, though. P.S. Biscuit says hi. Attached was a photo of her golden retriever, a domesticated wolf, sleeping peacefully on her couch. Vexia appeared beside him. Xenobiology departments across the galaxy are requesting human data, medical, behavioral, historical, everything. Send it all, Xa'thuul said. Let them understand. Humans aren't dangerous because of what they can do. They're remarkable because of what they choose not to do. Below them, station life continued. Humans working alongside aliens, shopping, laughing, teaching alien children in the education center. A human doctor treating a Rigelian patient. A human engineer helping repair a Thelian ship. Ordinary, peaceful, kind. Every single one of them carrying the genetic blueprint of an apex predator. Every single one of them choosing compassion anyway. Xa'thuul began drafting his report to the Scientific Council. Subject: Revised Understanding of Human Species. Conclusion: Capability does not define character. Humans represent the first known case of voluntary predator dormancy, achieved through cultural rather than genetic evolution. Recommend designation: Apex Predator, Elective Pacifist. Further study required on human decision-making processes that allow conscious override of biological imperatives. Preliminary assessment: if humans can choose to transcend their nature, perhaps that capacity, that choice, is the most human thing about them. He sent the report and looked back at the empty corridor where Charlotte had disappeared, whistling and thinking about kickboxing class. Somewhere in the station, a vet tech was probably saving someone's beloved pet. And somewhere in the galaxy, the Predator Index score of 9.8 glowed in databases like a reminder. The most dangerous thing about humans was never their capability. It was their unprecedented decision not to use it.